Hey Year 10.
Hi Year 10.
Here we are with lesson number 3 on political theatre. This is going to be our final flipped lesson on Brecht, because next week we'll be moving on to
Augusto Boal,
that famous South American theatre practitioner that was also into politics. Okay, so this is just a wrap up of Brecht for you. Let's start.
Okay, so as we know from previous lessons and our last flip lesson, Brecht was against naturalistic theatre. He didn't like the idea that the audience could, this is a quote, hang up their brains with their hats in the cloakroom.
It's pretty much saying that he doesn't want his audience to be passive. He wants them to be actively engaged with what they're watching, okay? Rather than theatre just being there for entertainment, it should bring about some form of change for his audience.
And in order to bring about that change, Brecht had his, as we know, he calls it epic theatre. So as we know, epic theatre is an umbrella term for Brecht's style of theatre, and he just aimed to make audiences stop and think.
It's really important to remember that Brecht's epic theatre was episodic, okay? So broken into clear episodes that were scenes that all joined together to create the overall moral or political idea of his story, okay? And these episodes could also take place in various different time periods, so they could be 50 years apart, but they're all driving home that same lesson, remember, and that is relating back to didactism, or teaching of a moral lesson.
Great. Do you want to pronounce this one, Miss Campbell?
Yeah, sure. Brecht used the Verfremdungseffekt, or the V effect, or the alienation technique to constantly remind his audience that they were watching a play, okay, to snap them out of the passive audience role that most people were used to when they went and saw theatre. He used a number of techniques to achieve this.
So the first one being narration. Brecht liked to have narration in his scripts where actors on stage spoke about the action before it happened. And next one is...
He also liked to use song. Song he used in an interesting way. If it was a serious scene, he would often use quite an upbeat melody to really snap the audience out of, I suppose, the dramatic action of what was taking place on stage, and to really make them think about what was happening on stage and what he wanted them to understand was happening. So it might be a nursery rhyme played with a mass murder scene from a war.
As well, he liked to use his design elements to alienate his audience. So staging and lighting. As we spoke, he often liked to have the lighting rigs exposed, the curtain rigs exposed, harsh, unnaturalistic lighting, very minimal props, and sometimes signs at the beginning of scenes to let the audience know what the action on stage was. Basically, the epic designer broke down that fourth wall between the audience and the performer and just relied heavily on illusion and symbolism.
So it was really clear to the audience in epic theatre that they were in the same space as the actors. It wasn't an imaginary world in front of them. They were all in the same place, getting the same message.
And Brecht coined this term of gestus that we've touched on. And gestus is a difficult one, but it essentially can be defined as gesture with attitude. It's a moment of action in the performance that conveys the whole intention of the play, the whole idea behind the play.
So, for example, you might have gesture is a soldier marching across a stage. Gestus, however, takes on, I suppose, higher meaning because it would show that soldier marching across dead bodies across the stage, okay, to really make the audience question what was happening. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hello? I'm just recording at the moment. I'll call you back. Thanks. Bye. Sorry about that, Year 10. That was Miss Paget.
We're back. Okay, great.
Mother Courage, an example of
There's
justice.
a beautiful example in Mother Courage as well, where Mother Courage is bargaining with the soldiers about the price of a belt, while the other soldier is taking away her son to war. And she stops, and there's this powerful moment where she bites the money, the gold, to see if it's real. And that is a powerful example of justice, because it's showing that Mother Courage is putting money above her children in the face of war, sort of.
And and the cost of war, and I suppose asking what people value most. Okay, there's also Brechtian acting styles or epic acting, which aims to demonstrate rather than imitate. Okay. And where actors often addressed the audience, and also they were prepared on stage. So once more, breaking down the fourth wall, making it very clear that the audience was not there for entertainment. They were actually there to have a greater understanding of the moral issue or political issue that Brecht was trying to put across.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So as an epic playwright, Brecht just always had a clear political one-sided message, and his messages related back to his socialist agenda, thus making him, as we have said, the big papa of political theatre.
Okay, so the two essential aims for Brecht's epic theatre. The message has to be clear, and the message must be clear, and the audience always has to remain critically aware. So those two. The message has to be clear. Audience is always critically aware of what the message is. Don't forget to whisk it. Remember, the whisk or the question at the end of it has to relate this lesson back to the performance that you're putting on with the information that we've just given you. Bye, Year 10. Have fun watching this over the weekend. You better do it.